Welcome to the show, man. This is Big Reptile Talk. We got a legend in the building, Big Will from Royal Canadian Reptiles. How you doing, sir?
Oh, good, man. Good. How are you doing?
Not too bad, man. I had to get you in here and just talk to you, man. Pick your brain a little bit, man, because you're doing some amazing stuff. Now, I wanted to know, man, why ball pythons, man?
Oh, they're just the best, bro. They're the best. There's so many genes. The perfect sized animal. Their husbandry requirements are very simple. You know, the the amount of genetics that are even available is just crazy.
Right. Now you do hog noses too, don't you? A little bit of
I do.
everything.
We just started doing some hogs, so it's a bit of a smaller scale compared to the ball pythons, but yeah, no, we're playing with hogs, not even close to like we are with balls, but yeah, we're and hogs are awesome too. They're their own thing. They're really cool. A little bit of a learning curve there as far as like they're easy to breed, but they're they're a little trickier to understand, I guess, if that makes sense. At
Right,
least
right,
from my
right.
perspective, hog guys would say the opposite. So
Right. Now I gotta ask this, man. What is your this is like a two-part question. What's your favorite ball python morph? And what's a morph that you think everybody should be working with?
it's the same answer. It's Desert Ghost, man. Straight up.
Desert Ghost,
Everybody,
you like that Desert Ghost?
yeah, bro. I mean, just everything. Like as far as like combo potential on it, it's just it, it's endless because every single gene that you put with it just makes it better. It's just an enhancing gene. It just makes stuff clean, bright. It stays that way as it ages. It just you know, it turns a pastel from a brown adult to a still yellow and black adult animal, and that's impressive.
Right. Now with you being a breeder, like not necessarily with all your clutches right now, but how many ball pythons do you think you got right now?
Um, I don't know. We're probably somewhere in the 600 range.
600 snakes, man. I'm so jealous.
Yeah, yeah. Careful what you wish for,
I'm
though, man. It's a lot of work.
I think I'm at my reptiles are getting up there around like 9. I just ended up getting one yesterday. I just
Yeah.
I just kind of got off into the venomous side of it.
Okay. I don't do any. I don't mess around with anything venomous.
Right. You know what? It's exciting but kind of terrifying.
Yeah, I believe it.
Now, man, you got so much knowledge with ball pythons and just snakes in general. So I was wondering, do you got like a mentor or are you self-taught?
I mean, there's a mixture of people who have helped us along the way. Absolutely. I got to give huge credit to Mark Mandick and to Ralph Davis. Both of those guys helped me immensely in the start. And then they did the kind of the thing that most mentors need to do is kind of like, all right, I've given you the basics, but like there's still stuff you got to figure out on your own. Like you gotta like, and that's for guys that even that I'm helping. Like at some point, I need to say to them, like, all right, man, I've given you all the advice that I can, and now I just want to see what you do with it. Like, can you take it and move forward with that information? Um, Obviously, help everybody along the way. I'm an open book. There's nothing, I like helping people. I like seeing people do well. To be honest with you, it's good for all
Right,
of us
right,
when
right.
everyone does well.
How did how does it feel, man, just having like a household name, man? Like, do you realize like everybody that I've brung on my channel, when I said your name to them, they knew who you were. They instantly was like, "Oh yeah, I'm broken name Reptile. I know them." How does that feel being so well known in the hobby?
It, it's crazy how it happens, man. Like I didn't really feel like I was, to be honest. I just kind of just did my own thing, focused on my projects, posted showed the animals that I was working with, and people kind of gravitated to it. I suppose it's just one of those things that worked out really well. Um,
Right,
I'm glad people know who we are. That's humbling for myself, but it's it's crazy to me that so many people do know who we are. To be honest with you, it's wild,
right. I'm
but
talking
it
about
feels good.
e- even just yesterday, I was talking to Ozzy. He Instantly, he's like, "Oh, you having Willa? Yep. Oh, he's good. He's good people. Aussie boys knows who you is, man. That's big, dog.
Yeah, man. Ozzy, I mean, Ozzy's a homie, man. Ozzy's a beauty. We've spent some good time together. So we went on vacation together, and I've been down to his place, checked out his collection. Great dude, makes insane stuff. So, you know, he's
Right,
just
right,
he's just like straight up like the big dog, you know.
right." Now, I got a question from my audience. Main Squeeze Reptiles wants to know how many holdbacks do you think you'll end up having?
Oh, I mean, such a hard question to answer because it really depends on what the genetic odds we land on, and then what sex is it, and you know, there's different criteria for what lands, right? You know, you never know what's going to hatch. But generally, I'm looking to hold back around 65 to 80 female, not just females, 65 to 80 animals per year.
Right, right, right. Shout out to Wiz Constrictor Reptiles. He said you're cool as hell. He looks for you attentively every time. And if you ain't following him, you need to.
Oh, bro, he's cool shit, man. He's a good guy, real good guy.
Now, I got to ask you a hot seat question. Now, we love everybody. You know, this ain't no disrespect to nobody, but who are some of your favorite breeders?
I gotta go with Ozzy. You just got to. I love the like. I love honestly. I like Ozzy's whole business model. You know, he's a little bit more laid back. There's not as much like social media stuff. Although he started with the YouTube channel and all that, but Ozzy just has that like laid back mentality. He makes what he makes. He works on projects he enjoys working on, and people flock to him for them because the stuff he's making is visually striking. Um, there's lots of guys, but as far as like who I would like to emulate our business, like to emulate the business of Royal Canadian Reptiles behind would be somebody like Ozzy Boyd's.
Of course, of course. Dude is super, super awesome. I had him on the channel. Now, we got to talk about pulling eggs, man. Like you being a breeder, how long did it take you to master pulling eggs? You know, because a lot of new people, you trying to pull eggs, you getting bit. You know, mama protecting them eggs. Like, how long did it take you to master pulling eggs?
I don't think I've mastered it quite yet, man. I still get lit up sometimes, but yeah, no, it's just one of those things that you understand. It's more importantly, it's understanding body language on the animal. You understand where her head is. You understand she's not in a good mood, and you're taking her eggs, and you always come in from behind them. Don't try and like go face on. Just for the respect of the animal as well. That's a stressful situation for that animal to be in, and if you can make it as least stressful as possible, then just everything just seems to be better off for her and for yourself.
Right, 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 man. Just you got so much knowledge, man. Now, I'm sure you get this question all the time, man. But with like I said, with you being a breeder, man, it's so many people that want to follow in your footsteps. You know, they want to follow in Ozzy's footsteps. Can you give us some new breeder advice?
Oh man, work with what you like. Straight up. Like don't worry about chasing trends. Don't worry about what the newest project is, because by the time you see a snake and you're like, I gotta make that, and everybody's gonna want it. By the time you make that, it's kind of old news by the time you get to it. So when you see a snake, when you see something that or a project you're interested in working in, look at the project for what it is and be like, okay, cool. This combination of genes can achieve this result. What else can I add to it that I have? What's my spin on it? I always look at something like Justin and Ozzy make insane stuff all the time, and I see what they're doing, and I'm like, okay, cool. That was a really neat gene interaction. I can make that, but I'm going to try and put it into Cypress, or I'm going to put it into Wookiee, or I'm going to put it into Puzzle, or Desert Ghost, or Clown. Like, it just try new stuff. Don't be afraid to go off the beaten path. Everyone's clown, clown, clown. Nothing wrong with clown. Clown's a great gene, but there's a lot of other combos that are available to us that I think a lot of people have clown blinders on right now. And I love clown, man. It's an integral part of my collection, but it's not like my only focus.
I love that answer, man. I gotta tell you that, man. We getting game from Will, man. Now, how long this is a two-part question. How long have you been breeding? And if it's been for a super long time, how do you feel breeding is when you started versus now? What do you think it's gotten better? Do you think it's evolved?
Oh yeah, I mean, we've been doing this for almost 13 years now. We got our first collection in 2008. So actually, I just got an RCR jersey made up, and I got '08 on the back for our year established. Um, but the breeding stuff, and it gets better and better every year because your collection gets better and better. Not necessarily better, just nicer looking, I suppose, like more advanced as far as the genetic side of things. Um, but it's not like it's you just learn more, you understand what you're doing a little bit more, and every year you learn a little bit, and you try and apply those same concepts to it's downstairs, babe. That beeping. Oh, it's a smoke alarm downstairs. I don't know why it's going off. Can you go click the button on it? I don't know where it is. It's down. You'll hear it. Sorry, man. I got a smoke alarm going off.
Hey, totally
we're very
totally fine, man.
And it picks up the fumes and.
Hey, we appreciate you just being here. If you had 10 smoke alarms going off, we don't care.
No. But yeah, the breeding gets better and better every single year. It's just one of those things that you learn a little bit and you take that knowledge and apply it the following year, and your collection gets a little better every year, and you just start to make cooler and cooler stuff. I've said for a long time, there are not very many businesses where you're more excited year 10 than you were year 1. Most of the time it's the opposite. You're excited year 1, and year 10 you're getting burnt out. Where I feel like I've got more fire than ever to keep your foot on the gas and make cool stuff. Starting to see projects through, starting to stuff starting to roll, man. It's exciting time.
You could just hear that hunger, man. Like he's like, I got my foot on the gas and I'm still putting out good stuff.
Yeah.
Y'all hear that hunger? Now, with you being, Royal Canadian Reptiles, man, talk to me about how it is selling reptiles in Canada versus it is in the United States. Because I don't think y'all have morph market, do y'all?
Yeah, we do. Yeah. I
didn't know that.
And to be honest, sorry, man. To be honest, the majority of our season goes to the United States. So I ship once a month to the United States, and I'll ship a box of 40 or 50 animals. But most of the season ends up in the States. But it's no different than selling in like for you guys in the States. We have a Reptile Courier service run through FedEx, and we package the animals properly. Put them in the proper conditions to apply heat or apply cooling, depending on the weather conditions, and we ship them. And it's overnight shipping, and I try to do airport to airport when I can. And I suggest everybody do that, especially if it's possible. You can drop them off at your local airport, and as long as they have a direct flight to where your customer's closest airport, they can have the snake same day. And obviously, less time in a box is the best.
Right. See, man, I appreciate you giving us that knowledge. Now, I wanted to get you on, man, so I could congratulate you. I seen that you were building a new rat house. Of course, it's for the business, and I wanted to say congrats on that, and just kind of ask you, being a breeder, do you feel like a new breeder or any breeder out there, in order to be successful, do you have to breed your own rats?
You don't have to. It's not a must, but it's definitely a huge benefit. It will help you, not necessarily in the way of like cost, but it's availability. A rodent shortage is there goes your season if that happens. These females need to be eating when they're building, and if you don't have the food to, breeding ball pythons is totally different than keeping ball pythons. Keeping ball pythons, you feed them, and if they don't eat a meal, no big deal. They'll have a meal next week as long as they're offered food, weekly. Not a huge deal. But when you're getting into breeding, that female needs to put on weight in order to produce those eggs. It's just the way it goes. So how do you do that? You feed them, and you'll notice as you start to breed these females, is they get to a point where they're building and they're very hungry. Like they want to eat. Same way, pregnant woman wants to eat more food. It's just the way it goes. It's two of them, not one of them. And so you give them the food, and it's just one of those things that, you know, I wanted the availability of the rodents. Cost is definitely a huge help, but one of the things that I really enjoy about having the rodents accessible to me is if I go in to feed, I do feeding on Sunday. I offer my collection all food, and when you have a snake that's, let's say, you know, with a larger collection, you have a decent amount of snakes that are all in shed. Well, I'll clip all those bins so I know all those enclosures, so I know exactly which snakes are in shed. And once they come out of shed, I can go back in on Wednesday or Thursday and say, like, okay, you didn't eat last week. I'm offering you food again. And it's just the availability of the rodents, to be honest with you.
Right. See, my lady's been on me about breeding rats because every time I go buy them, she's like, "Oh my God, they cost that much?" I'm like, "Yeah." So I'm thinking about breeding myself.
Yeah, I mean, it can be worth it. And if you only have 9 animals, you would only need, you know, like one group of breeder rats. But rats are fun to keep too. They're a cool animal.
Right. Now, I wanted to talk to you about egg cutting and just get your view on it, and because so many people like it, so many people dislike it. For instance, Jay's Prehistoric Pets, he gets a lot of crap for doing egg cutting videos. Just give me, what's your take on egg cutting? Do you think it's necessary to be a breeder, or do
No,
you kind of like to hold off on it?
no, it's not necessary to be a breeder or whatsoever. And anyone that's telling you, oh, I cut the eggs to save the babies. I mean, there is an element of truth to that, but it's a very, very small percentage. Um, the 99% are cutting to see what's the newest, coolest combo that they hit. And what is that? And I think that as an industry, we should maybe hold ourselves to a little bit of a higher standard. The animals will hatch. They hatch on their own, and there's something really, really rewarding about going to the bin and going to the incubation tubs and seeing, oh wow, that clutch that I've been waiting for, all those little heads poking out, and like, holy, look at that clown's head stamp, and you see it. That's when I get excited. But the actual cutting aspect, it's not really. I've done it. And maybe everyone should do it so that they can form their own opinion on it. But I think especially cutting a day like 50, 51, 52, that's pretty early still, man. Like most of my babies are hatching 56, 57 when I leave them alone. So you're exposing that animal and all its yolk and all its albumin and all the blood vessels to outside elements before really it's ready to come out. That snake should, on its own, would absorb all that yolk. It starts to build its immune system. It starts to do all that things. And when it's ready, slices the egg because it's ready to come out. You'll notice that when you leave eggs alone, if you were to let a baby pip on its own, then cut the egg and look at that snake. I'm not saying pull the snake out of the egg. Don't do that. But if you were to look at that snake, all of its yolk is gone. It's completely absorbed. So, I mean, it's kind of messed up. Like egg cutting's a little bit weird, in a way. Like imagine you were breeding dogs, and you were like, the female's about to give birth on Saturday, and you're like on Tuesday, like, no, I can't wait to see what color the dogs are, and you open her up. That's pretty messed up, man. Like it's a similar example is what we're doing. Now, are you saving some of them? Do they get twisted in their umbilical? Sure, they do. That does happen, but the real reason that we open eggs is to see what they are, and I think we should all exercise. And the way I look at it, man, you raise the female up for 4 years, 3 to 4 years. You've gone through 8 months of breeding. You get an ovulation. You get the pre-lay shed. She lays eggs. You wait 55 days, and so you've waited like 3.5 years, and you can't wait like 3 more days. So,
right. Hey, that makes sense. That makes total sense.
Just one of those things, it's just a little bit, but everyone does what they do, right?
Right. I love that answer, man. Now, something I want to ask too is right now, there's so many new breeders out there. There are a lot of old breeders, a lot of new breeders, a lot of people just getting into the game. Do you feel like the market is saturated, or do you feel like the sky's the limit? It's still money to make in the game out there.
The sky is the limit, and there's so many, and that's actually like an honest like it's not like, oh, go get snakes. Like it's really it's true. And it's only limited by your imagination. There are, if you go out and look at how many genes there are available to us in the market, and understand the interactions and how these genes work with each other, and some of the combos, like I'm 31, and some of the genetic combinations that we'll be able to make eventually, I will never get to see, because it will just take that long to get to that point. It's it gets very, very complicated, and the odds of hitting, I say hitting, the odds of hatching something like that is it gets astronomical. You know, it gets very, very difficult. Even if you were to say like a 5 recessive, like that's hard enough to get to on its own, but just to remake that is very, very difficult.
Right.
So
Now,
sky's the limit. Seriously, like it really is.
y'all hear that? And man, everybody here that's breeding snake, the sky is the limit, man. Keep pushing. You just following your footsteps. Follow this man's footsteps, man. Now, with you being a breeder, man, if somebody was wanting to get into breeding and they wanted to do it full time, would you recommend it?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's not like I don't think it should be a business that you just decide, like, I'm going into business. Like, this is what I'm gonna do. This is my business. Like, that maybe not the best approach. What you should do, especially from someone with zero experience, right? You should have a couple of snakes, or maybe start a small collection. You know, and learn the husbandry, learn how to care for them, learn their body language, learn their behavior, learn like all the ins and outs of what's going to happen, and try and get like 1 or 2 clutches a year, and then from there go to 4, 5, 6 clutches a year. But a recipe for failure is to jump into this and try and produce 100 clutches a year, where you're producing 600 baby animals, and you're just like, it's system overload. Do you have the rodents capacity to feed every mouth that you hatch? Do you have the bin, the enclosure space to house all those animals? It's way more than just like, I'm going to do this full time, you know? Now, can you do it full time? Absolutely. There's lots of guys that do it. But it's something that you should grow into business and not just go into business, you know?
Right. I love that answer, man. It's just like, so, you want to get into breeding, take your time, man. Start slow, because the minute you try and, you just head on, you worrying about trying to hit certain clutches, then it becomes, you got to make this certain clutch to pay your rent. You don't want to do that.
No, that's stressful. That's very stressful. And sometimes it won't work. And you don't want to be that person that's like, I'm relying on this clutch of eggs to pay my mortgage. Like what happens if those eggs do go bad? They will. It will happen. I'm not saying every clutch is going to go bad, but some clutches will go bad. Some babies won't hatch. Some sometimes the females will slug out. Just they give you bad eggs. They're not fertilized. There's lots of variables here, and so going through all those hardships along the way is what makes it so that when it happens to me, I'm like, man, it's okay. We'll try that again next year. It's not like, oh my God, I'm in so much financial trouble right now.
Right. Now, because we got a few breeders in the chat, man. So I kind of wanted to ask this, man, is just to get some knowledge from somebody that's doing big stuff, man. Can you give us, us new breeders, some advice or some tips on how to reduce slugs?
I think temperature is a correlation there. I think keeping males too warm. Some guys keep their racks up in the mid 90s to achieve an 89 degree Fahrenheit hotspot. But I think that a cool down period should happen. I think that's a natural thing that would happen in the wild for them. So a little bit of a cool down period, sort of similar to like the colubrids. Everyone cools their colubrids, cools them down. That triggers their reproductive response. I'm sure ball pythons operate in a similar way. I know some guys that cool down quite a bit, like more than I would, and they have extreme success with that. So I think temperatures are definitely related. Too warm is probably slugs. It's just probably the way it's going to go. You keep your room at 85, 86, 87. You're into incubation temperature, and that's just way too warm for them to be developing eggs. So um, that and breed. Don't be breeding like males that are too young. Like let them have the year to mature. They mature at about 12 to 14 months. Some will mature into 7 months. It's definitely possible, but the younger the male and the more that you try to breed that, the more likely you are to probably get some slugs.
Right. Well, man, y'all hear that? This is tips, man. This is a way to reduce slugs. Take notes, man, because we getting game. Now, I gotta ask this, man. I'm gonna give you a number, man, because I'm jealous. How does it make you feel knowing 16,000 people on Instagram want to watch what you got going on?
Yeah, it's crazy. Instagram, that's a crazy thing, man. Like I don't really, honestly, man. I don't get involved. I don't get like caught up in like how many followers or how many subscribers or how many this you have. I just try and do what I do. It's what I can control. Try and put the most work and the best product. I hate to use that term because it's an animal, right? It's not a product. But the best examples of what I can achieve with these genetics out to the for availability to go into other people's collections. And those people are starting to notice that the projects that I'm working on, people are like, oh wow, that's a really cool animal. And it's just been a slow build. I think this overnight, like 0 to 100,000 may not be, it's just a bit of a viral sensation, but I think that slow progressive growth is what you want in almost every business, right? You don't want, most people don't want to go from, I mean, everybody wants to go from nothing to like being the Apple of the industry, but you can't do that overnight. You know, how long did it take Apple to get to where they are? 30,
Right.
40 years, about 30 years, you know, and they had so many struggles along the way. And I think everybody should go through that, those struggles. Cause it just makes you like much more resilient, makes you, push forward. But it is humbling to know that, 16,000 people are following along with what we're doing. It's crazy.
Right.
I always look at that.
Right.
16,000 people. That's like a full arena. That's crazy. I'm just a dude that breeds snakes, man. Like I'm not like saving lives or, I'm not doing any of that. And it's just, it's crazy. It's insane.
Right. Shout out to Wiz, man. He said nothing but heat coming from the RCR camp, no doubt.
Bro. Thanks, bro.
Wiz Constrictors, man, we love you, brother. We appreciate you. Now, I wanted to give you a YouTube idea, man. This is something that I would love to see myself. You ain't got to do it, but I'm gonna give you an idea, man. I would love to see and I think that a lot of people should do this, man. I think it would bring people in. It would be a fun way to bring new keepers into the hobby. For instance, I would love to see Justin Kabelka and Ozzy Boys on the phone. They call each other like, hey, Justin, I'm about to this month I'm selling 800 snakes, and if I sell 800 and you sell 6, you got to buy me steaks. And if you beat me, I got to buy you lobsters. You know what I mean? I feel like I would love to see you on YouTube.
Like a little competition between breeders.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I would love to see you call like Gavin over in the UK, like balls you like, hey, I'm finna sell 600 snakes, and if you sell 400, you gotta buy me lobster, or even Marcus James, just any other dope breeders out there. I think y'all should do that, man.
I've always thought we should do a like a best in class, similar to like how they do it in the dogs, where like the top breeders around North America all submit their submission on the year, like this is the snake, and then the community gets to vote, and everyone's available, everyone's allowed to post their whoever wants to, and the community votes, and you whittle it down. Okay, this is the first 50 submissions, and then we whittle it down to 25, then they redo it. Okay, out of these 25, you whittle it down to 10, and then you get like a third place, second place, first place, and I don't know, first place gets I don't even know, like a free table at a NRBC show or something like that. It'd be cool.
Man, that would I think that what you just said too, I think that would bring so many people in just because they want to watch that competition. And just for a friendly competition would bring more people in. You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah, for sure it would.
Now I know you're very busy, so we don't have much time. We got to get you back to what you were doing. So just a couple more questions, man. Oh, even with constrict. Yes, different categories like breeder of the year, best best recessive, best four genes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that would be cool, man. And like, do
That would be
give
fire.
the give them out at Tinley or something like that, and everyone gets like a little like display thing, and you can start a little shelf and like, oh yeah, in 2011 I won best double recessive combination, and you know that sort of thing. It'd be cool. It's just like a and some guys that are not necessarily like the giants or the huge breeders would win this stuff. It brings like Wiz can make one of these snakes and hit a crazy combo, and man, he can have a plaque on his wall saying like 2020 biggest up and coming player in the game, Wiz. It's just
Man, you been giving me ideas, man. I'm about to try and see if I can get that together, man. That's a good idea, dude.
yeah, bro. It'd be fun. Put
Now,
a competitive, fun aspect into it.
right now, I want to ask you this, man, because you deal with ball pythons a lot. What's a tip for you? Because I was always scared. I'll be honest with you. I only have one ball python in my collection, and it was given to me. It was a
Okay.
gift from Miguel. It was a gift from Miguel at over at Always Evolving Pythons. Because he was
Yep.
like, you need. He's like, you need one. I'm giving you one. You need one. Now, I was always scared to get into ball pythons because when I do research, when I read up on them, they're known for the quote unquote hunger strike or food strike. Now
Sure.
what's some of your tips for dealing with a ball python hunger strike?
Switch up the food availability. So if they're primarily feeding on, let's say normal rats, maybe I'll offer up an African soft fur to see if that'll get them going. Different food prey items. Just because this may be total bullshit, to be honest with you, but I know that if you fed me chicken for 10 years and then you fed me a steak, and I'd be like, you know what? I don't want chicken tonight, man. I've had chicken 6 days in a row. I'd rather not eat. But if you put a steak in front of me, I'm like, yo, okay, I'll eat this. And then the next day you put chicken, and then the next day you put steak. Oh, okay, there's a bit of variety here. So try different food items. And sometimes that doesn't work. Sometimes it's just straight up. I think they get into a spot where they're in like almost like a coming of age and a puberty, like maturing type thing, and they go off of food. Their stuff's happening in their body that is it's not food time. It's just like maturing situation.
Right?
And
Excellent tip, man.
that's just a theory. Again, I have no idea if that's true or not.
Right? I kind of like too. I love what you said, and I kind of like what Justin Kabelka said on his Netflix series. He said whenever he has one that's on like a hunger strike, he likes to take the tub out, dump all the bedding, change the bedding, wipe it down. He says he likes to make a new environment and
Yep.
try to get that snake. He said new environment kind of sparks that feeding response.
Yeah, and that's very possible. We do bin changes or tub cleans quite often. Um, we do it every time a snake sheds. So if it's on a hunger strike, sometimes if they're off of food, we'll just move them into a new spot in the racking system. So we'll just put them into a new spot in the enclosure system, and yeah,
Right
sometimes
now,
that's
now you were talking about. You said the desert ghost is your favorite morph, and I want to bring that back up and kind of just ask you, is there like a morph that eventually you want to be known for? Like back then, Jessica Belka had the Batman, and Ozzy Boys. Everybody knows him for the Orange Dream. Is there a morph that you want to go down in history being known for? Like when they say, Will RCR, yeah, he's known for this more. Is there a more you want to be known for?
I think we might be getting there with Puzzle. I don't know for sure. I can't say what other people think. Like I don't know. I know that in my collection it would be Desert Ghost and Puzzle, maybe even some Tri-Stripe stuff. But and really, honestly it's going to be the double recessive Desert Ghost combinations. So like we're working on Desert Ghost Clown, Desert Ghost Pie, Desert Ghost Puzzle, Desert Ghost Tri-Stripe, Desert Ghost Hypo, DG Lavender, DG Xanthic. Like it just goes on and on and on. And we're just working on all of those combos and trying to make the most exceptional examples of
All right,
those.
I love that, man. Puzzle King, man. I can see that, man. Big RCR, the Puzzle King. Now I gotta ask a hot seat question, man, because I heard
Yeah.
your lady in the background, so I gotta put you on the hot seat, man. I hope I don't get you in trouble. Now,
Yeah.
with you having 600 snakes, now you ain't gotta answer. You don't want to. With you having so many snakes, have you ever told your wife a fib? You know, you said, "Baby, I really need to go get this snake," and it was like $1,000, and you went and got it, but you told her it was 150.
No, no. I haven't, because that it's all run through the business at this point. So it's she understands it's a business expense. So and it's crazy the amount that at first it was scary for me to spend somewhere in the 5,000 on an animal, and now it's quite a regular practice. It's males are generally well double that, and it's yeah, it just run through the business, and it's a business expense, and she understands how the business operates, and we're all good.
All right, man. Well, I want to first off thank you, man, because I keep these interviews short, man, just to get a little knowledge from you. I know you
Sure.
said you got stuff going on today. We went almost 40 minutes. So first of all, I just want to thank you for hanging out with us and giving us some knowledge, man.
Oh, thanks for the invite, man. It was a good time. Good chat.
Right. Because and now this is going on my YouTube. I do want to ask you this, man. You getting ready to, you blowing up on Instagram. I can't wait to see you blow up just everywhere, man. Is there anybody that you want to do like some videos with, some collabs with?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how to like really arrange those. I mean, like I'd love to just like film Ozzy's collection like every single year. Like same with Justin's. I just want to go down and look at it. Um, but man, like it's hard because like I'm not like a big content creator. I don't necessarily love shooting videos. I do shoot them. I'm gonna try and get one a week out. But it's just one of those things that when I get down to Ozzy's place, like the last thing I want to do is pick up a camera and stick it in his face. I want to chop it up with Ozzy. Like I haven't seen the guy in a year. Like how's things been? How's he's got the German short hair. I've got a German short hair. I see his dog. I see his collection. It's just chop it up with a friend. It's not like a thing where I'm like, hey man, we got to like knock on his door and there's a camera. Hey Ozzy, yeah. It's just like we'll shoot a video while I'm there, but it's not a thing that I'm like,
That makes sense because they get so many visitors, like especially Kabelka. He just built that $1 million facility, and
yeah,
it's just like every time I look up, there's somebody who's doing a facility tour of his facility. So sometimes people you just want to kind of just go hang out. Don't really got to be about business all the time. Just more on that friendship type level.
yeah. I just want to chop it up, talk to him about the projects, talk to him about what he's working on, talk to him about just what's going on in the industry. What are you making? Well, let's look at some snakes and talk to them. They don't always have to be filmed.
Right.
Yeah, showing stuff off is great. I mean, everybody else gets to see it as well. I doubt I have very many followers that are not following Justin or Ozzy, so they already see what he's doing. But yeah, it's just I just
That makes total sense, man. I appreciate that. I'm gonna let you go ahead and go out of here because I know you're very busy. Again, thank you. I'm getting ready to post this. I'm gonna let you head out, sir. Thank you again, man.
appreciate the time, man. Thank you very much.
You have a good day, sir.
All right, cheers, man.
Man, excellent dude. Will over at Royal Canadian Reptiles is doing some amazing stuff. Check them out, RCR. First off, I want to thank everybody in the chat, man. This is Big Reptile Talk. Um, that was definitely a good interview. If you're a breeder, man, I hope you enjoyed that. He gave us a lot of knowledge. Just some real great tips, man. Again, man, this is Big Reptile Talk. I'm gonna do a couple shout outs. First, shout out to the Iron Animal Show. Justin from My Animal House, Iron Dog, Letka, Wiz Constrictors, Reptiles, Solo Butterfly, J&G Reptiles, Ball Python Love, Fitz Family Constrictors, Reese's Pythons, just everybody in the community, Kara Shea, Kit Kat, Ledka, Reptile Feedings, just everybody in our new community. Y'all make sure y'all go subscribe to them. Again, shout out to Wiz. He said go follow that dude. He's doing some amazing stuff. He sat down and talked to us. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I appreciate the help. Until next one, man. This is Big Reptile Talk. I'm gonna take myself out.